RotoGrinders, Dean here. Dean 78904. If you want to get all technical, it's 5 o'clock on the East Coast. Non-stop conversation taking y'all straight up the lock. Mlb Dfs 2+ hours. Joining me today, former $1 million winner, Andre. Andre is with me on a Tuesday. You got to talk me through some of these pictures, Dre, because it is uncomfortable. We're going to have the conversation. We're all, dealing with the same player pool. But, man, these pictures are gross. Nobody projecting for more than 20 DK points as a median. Only one person above 17.45. I got to hit refresh, but that's more or less correct. Dre, what's up? Welcome to the show.
Not much. It's good to be here. Glad to talk baseball again. Trying to hopefully get, everything, hopefully the right combination to win some money. Win a big one, I should say. But, yeah, hopefully also get the good people some good advice to come in second place.
By the way, I just gave a refresh, and our projections now on DK specifically as a median projection. Nobody has a median projection above 18.18. So the projection is actually dropped for, spoiler alert, Zach Wheeler. Stevie, former pitcher, did not get a chance to listen to your podcast last night. Were you struggling going through the pitchers? Maybe you like some of the pitchers today. I'm curious to get your thoughts because generally speaking, the way I like to build is give me the pitchers that I trust, and I just kind of figure out the bats. And sometimes I don't get all the bats I want because, live in the world of a salary cap kind of thing. And I think I'm kind of reverse building and just like give me the bats I want, and I'll just figure out the arms and hopefully survive in advance. Welcome to the show, Stevie. And what do you have as far as today's slate, the general assessment and pitching specifically? Because it's kind of a disaster for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some interesting tournament plays, but overall, I'm with you. I don't ever agree with you. I don't know. I mean, I need to unregister right now. No, I built my 3 teams on DraftKings. I built out my stacks and then I filled in my pitching. And then I filled in secondary stacks that kind of worked. So I definitely prioritize my stacks over my pitching today. There's a couple guys that I really like today. There's a couple guys that I'm going to fade that should have some decent ownership. So, I mean, it's one of those slates where I don't feel really comfortable about any kind of pitching. And I mean, it's the exact opposite of Monday's slate, because Monday's slate, there was 3 guys that I was just I'm playing these 3 guys. And it's not even like that today.
Do you want to say what's up to those hanging out in the chat? I see Stan and Mr. Richard, a lot of the usuals. I see TJ's large. One of the greatest DFS players of all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm currently doing a slow best ball draft with TJ right now, and he's been getting very lucky getting all the players he wants, and it's really frustrating because I sent him out the invite, and now he's going to win the league. I need a kickback of what's the appropriate number to ask? 15%, Andre? What's the appropriate for a founder's fee? Yeah, that seems reasonable, right?
I'd say about 15, 20%.
There you go. All right. Oh, and I'm on the clock too right now. That's very exciting. We're multitasking on the show. Do you grinding the best balls, Dre? You do anything football wise as we work our way up to the NFL season? 23 games, 23 days, I think it is, until the season starts, give or take.
I have been just doing a lot more research right now. Then I'm gonna start doing some best balls, and then from there, just gonna write up a lot of future bets within the next probably week and a half or so. Since I have a little downtime and I'll be away in Philly for a couple of days at the live final for my friend. So I'll have time to write up a lot of stuff.
So Philly one is in San Diego, one is in Philly. Which is Philly? Is that Fanduel or is that DraftKings?
Philly is the one in Fanduel.
Okay, Sweet. Cool. Stevie, you're not grinding live finals, are you? I don't think you are.
No, all these young kids. I got my live finals in long time ago. I plenty of live finals, and yeah, I mean, I don't grind them anymore. I'll throw in an occasional team or two in the NASCAR one, but I don't grind live finals anymore.
Yeah, I don't besmirch it if that's what you want, but it's kind of an all or nothing. It's not a positive EV kind of contest, but if you hit it, if you advance, it's spectacular. Obviously. Back in the day, Stevie, were you at the Playboy Mansion? You made it there, right? I think so.
A couple times. Yeah, a couple times.
Anything you want to? Any anecdotes that are worth sharing with the people?
No, I mean it was fun.
All right.
There's so many stories, and over the years, I've told a lot of the stories. So I feel if you have been around for a while, I mean, I think my favorite story is taking $5,000 from Condia and beer pong. But I mean,
Oh
most
yeah.
most of these people don't even know who Kandia is. So
No.
like it just like we went, it was like 15, 16, 17, 18, like in that range. So like a lot of newer players don't even know who Kandia is.
Yeah, they were probably like, wait, live final was at the Playboy Mansion? When did that happen? Why did they stop doing that? That's crazy.
Star Street? What's Star Street?
What's a Star Street? Yeah. All right. Hey, I'm sorry, my I'm a little distracted. my draft keeps annoying me. Let me know. I know I'm on the clock. I apologize. I will stop being distracted. Got to talk about some baseball. I got to hone in as far as today's slate. And again, plenty of time to cover everything. Join the conversation. We like it when it's interactive. So whatever's in your mind there, chat, do share it. Of course, we're talking mostly about pitchers first. We'll talk about stacks later. All sorts of general strategy questions. Please feel free to share them throughout the day. If you had like a something on your mind baseball wise at 3:00 and you're like, I'd love to have a conversation about this. Where would you have it? You could do it in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel is available. The MLB channel is where we go like throughout the day. And also the NFL channel. The NFL channel is a thing as well. So as we kind of work our way up to NFL chatter is gonna ramp up, and we're gonna be jumping in there. And myself, I saw Andy Means was hanging out in there. Alex was hanging out in there. Will, by the way, I should mention Will's show. My understanding is I didn't get a chance because I was prepping the show. That was on at 4:30. If you like such things as prize picks, just player props in general, I think it's an official time change. It's going to be on at 4:30, basically our lead-in. So 4:30, Will, Chief Justice, you guys know him from the Prop Shop. The Prop Shop, another free Discord channel. You do not need a premium membership there for RotoGrinders, just any membership for RG. You can jump in there. But if you like working in the, the prize picks streets, the underdog streets, things like that, by all means, hit up the Prop Shop at, it's not called the Prop Shop. What's it called? Take Your Pick'em is the name of the show. This wasn't an official read. It just kind of came up organically. But I wanted to give Will a shout out, let the people know at 4:30. That's when that time slot's going to be going forward. All right, let's do it. Let's dive in as far as today's slate. Steve, you sounded excited to talk about some pitchers, so I'm going to go to you first. Let's give it the old refresh as far as our ownership and things like that. I think we have it as of 4:00. Let's see if we can get a fresher batch. Just want to refresh one more time before I start quoting some numbers. All right, we got the spinning wheel. It's coming in any second. I'm trying to buy my time right now by just saying words. We got there. We did it. 32% for Nick Pivetta. Isn't that comfortable? Pivetta, as of right now, as far as we know, right, Stevie, there's no opener. They're actually going to let him start the baseball game, which is cool. He's actually got the highest K rate on this slate amongst everybody, about 28, 29%, facing a Washington team that, they're contact heavy, but also they're bottom 5 in ISO. They're bottom 5 in power. Well, that would be ISO. Bottom 5 in WOBA and bottom 5 in walks. So they're not patient and they are punchless. 33% for Pivetta, Stevie. Beyond him, this is kind of surprising that David Peterson's getting 20%. That one I did not really see coming, I'll be honest. But that's what this slate is, and we'll talk through it. Let me throw it to you as far as Pivetta. I imagine you have a take. He seems to be the most popular pitcher, at least on today's expert survey and according to ownership. Are you on board with chalky Nick Pivetta?
Yeah, I was on said expert survey today and wrote him up as my favorite option on the slate. I mean, yeah, he's the highest strikeout pitcher. His biggest struggle really is power. And I mean, there's not a lot of power in this lineup. Yeah, there's not a lot of strikeouts, but this is easily a spot that he could go out and get 6 innings and strike out a guy per inning. So 6 strikeouts, 6 innings, a win with Gray facing the Red Sox bats. So you're looking at 22 to 26 points on DraftKings. So, I mean, I think we'll all kind of lock in 20 plus today and be super happy with it with the pitching that we have. So I think there's like higher ceiling options overall on this slate, but I think for like just point per dollar, he's in a great spot. So yeah, the Peterson thing, I was shocked by that when I was doing expert survey and like researching the slate. I was like, what? So I mean, he's an easy fade for me tonight at that type of ownership with like him not like fully stretched out. I think it's interesting when you're looking at like the top end guys, Wheeler, Montgomery, Giolito, Ober. I think you could get away from playing like all of these guys today, even though I think Wheeler has the most ceiling out of those 4 guys. But Bailey Ober, chalky Bailey Ober, I guess as terms of this slate, chalky Bailey Ober, just screams fade for me. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting slate when it comes to pitching.
We are projecting, and this is also the bat, both RotoGrinders and the bat, or they're in simpatico, 77 pitches precisely for David Peterson. The price is cheap, obviously. He's the second highest guy as far as 20% ownership. You mentioned some other names, Stevie, but Ober at 14%. Like, if I like him, I'll play him. I'm not going to run away because of ownership. It's pretty congested.
I think if you like anybody today, you just play them.
Yeah. Pavetta is the only one I think it's kind of sort of an ownership decision point. But if you like him, play him, because what are the other options? Dre, your thoughts as far as Pavetta? Are you leaning in when it comes to ownership today against Washington? A really impatient lineup they're rolling out today. 6% collectively as far as the walks. You look at the old plate IQ. And there are a couple of K guys in there, right? Thomas, Alu, and Rutherford. But, collectively only 20%. But, again, not a lot of power. Basically exclusive to Abrams, Thomas, and Ruiz. A little bit from an SS. If you stretch it back to last year, it probably goes higher. He hit, I think, with 30 homers last year as a 29-year-old rookie. But the bottom of that order really, really lacks a lot of punch. Dre, thoughts first when it comes to Pavetta, then kind of stretch from there.
Yeah, Pavetta is easily the top pitcher on the slate. To me, it's hard to get away from him. I've been trying to figure out a way to get away from him, but and obviously you can't by going with other pitchers, but at that price of 7.8K with him over the last month having 39% strikeout rate to lefties and 34% strikeout rate to righties, it's virtually impossible. To me, I think he's the top pitcher. You should just play him, and then get different elsewhere with your secondary pitcher. And honestly, any of these pitchers, like you said, like Stevie said, you could fade the top guys. I'm not really too thrilled about paying 11K for Jordan Montgomery against the Angels, or Zach Wheeler at 11.6, who probably has the highest potential on the slate. I don't mind Kikuchi at his price a little bit, but it's still, but Phillies also have not been the same too. So it's more so probably for me about sticking with the lower range, probably around 7. I can see myself probably getting as high as Kikuchi, maybe possibly stretching the belly over, but I'm not sure if I really want to even go there, especially like you said with him being a little bit chalky here. But it's a good matchup against Detroit, so it's just a catch-22. But the thing about it is, I think about the upside and points. So I think sticking to the mid-range is good. Like a guy like Kyle Hendricks against a White Sox lineup that isn't all that good either. Even taking a chance on a guy like Bryce Elder, I think it's an option here today. Going against the Yankees, who do have a little bit of a good high strikeout rate. My Yankees, I should say, with the high strikeout rate, but decent strikeout rate on the season. But I think it's pretty much open season on any pitcher that you go with today, and it really doesn't matter.
Let's just do that, right? You say any pitcher, and it's not any pitcher, but it's close to it.
Yeah.
Right. So stop me if you're willing to roster this guy. Both you guys. I assume Block is not happening. We're not rostering Ty Block, right? No. Whatever. Mantiply is just an open other for Arizona. You're not rostering him. I think you can roster Emerson Hancock at 5.5K against Kansas City. He's in my pool of options. Anybody else?
Not in my pool.
No, I like him a lot. I mean, this is one of the top prospects in this organization. Big stuff. I mean, he's good. And the Royals, they're hit or miss. So, he could go out and he could have a big strikeout game. The thing that piques my interest about Hancock so much is because I do think, Dakota Hudson is going to be popular. I wouldn't say chalky, but popular in this range. So, we have Hudson about almost 2.5 times the ownership of Hancock. And I think Hancock has better ways to get there. I mean, Hancock's a better strikeout pitcher in the minors anyway. Hudson's a pitch to contact, hope to generate ground balls type of guy. So Hudson's not going to go out and strike out 7 guys, where I think if Hancock's pitching well against this Royals team, he could get 6 or 7 strikeouts here. So way more interested in Hancock than I am in Hudson.
Yeah, they're both in my pool. And I was on the survey as well today, and I wasn't sure which one was going to be more popular. So I was trying to figure out which one to write. But I probably prefer, like you said, the one that's going to be less popular amongst the two. I mean, I'm willing to play them both on a team and just have a lot of fun when it comes to hitters. Why not? Hopefully they can get me a combined 25 points or something like that, and just your hitters do their thing. How about that one, Andre? You said no for Hancock, but what about Hudson for St. Louis taking on Oakland? Blade went on the IL, by the way, if you're wondering why he was on not in the lineup yesterday, not in the lineup today. Blade hurt for Oakland, but not that he's a great player, but he's good for that team, right? But yeah, Dre, as far as Hudson, is he somebody you're considering? He's pretty cheap and he's throwing baseballs against Oakland.
I mean, I'm considering him, but I don't know if he's going to make my final cut. I like to try to have more of a condensed player pool for pitching, and this is probably a slate right now where I have the most pitching options I've ever had on the slate this year. So he's kind of right now in my player pool, but I'm leaning towards possibly fading him, but that price of 5.8K might make it worth the risk, especially with his pitch count being high, and also Oakland's strikeout rate being a little bit high.
Severino, nobody's rostering Severino, right? Like it's I can't imagine. I'm not doing this. Anybody doing this? Severino versus Atlanta?
No.
Seems like a terrible idea.
If you don't like money, you can play Severino.
But speaking of terrible ideas, by the way, is inviting your friends and family to watch you pitch against the Braves. We saw that yesterday for Clark Schmidt, and it did not work out. Uncomfortable dinner after the game, probably. But I mean, come on, what you're asking for? I know they have never seen him pitch before, and he's from the Georgia area, but like, let him go on a road trip, or you see him when you face Oakland or something like that. But all right, Bailey Falter, or not? I don't think we're rostered. He's not in my pool, Dre. You said you have a bunch of guys in your pool. I don't think you have Falter, but you tell me.
I do not have Falter in my pool.
Adrian Hauser, I think he's another one we can kind of cross out.
Yeah, I don't have him in my pool either.
Jacob Junis for San Francisco. This is kind of a tricky one. I saw they were talking about in chat yesterday. If you had Manaea, we're thinking Manaea may pitch. We're not really sure. San Francisco's not going to tell you necessarily, but there's a chance they kind of piggyback those two today. I was looking at San Fran's bullpen, and like this is the thing. Like if you knew that Manaea was going to throw like 4 innings, I think he's worth a shot because the opportunity cost of pitcher is not terribly high. We're looking to kind of spend up, but I guess I'll ask for both. I don't think we're rostering Judas, but maybe Manaea if you're feeling, risky. Dre, San Fran pitchers.
I thought about Manaea. Like I really strongly thought about it, but the pitch count is still too low. So no, I'm not going to do it. Even though his price is a good price, but I want someone that's going to give me a little bit more. In this Tampa Bay lineup, even without Franco, it's not a bad lineup.
So Manaea has not pitched since Wednesday the 9th. Yesterday, San Fran unleashed 5 relievers. The only ones that didn't pitch were their closer and their setup man, Duvall and Rogers. That's Tyler Rogers. Taylor did pitch. Their other long man, Tristan Beck, went 60 pitches. So he's not going to pitch today. Junis, we've seen him go sometimes like 3 innings or so. Wood pitched a couple days ago through 70 pitches, so he's not going to go today. So, like, it makes sense that today is the day that you're going to see Manaea if it wasn't yesterday, because there's really nobody else left, unless they're just going to, like, an inning here and an inning there, that kind of thing, because the bullpen's pretty well rested. But what do you have here, Stevie, as far as I think Manaea is kind of sort of someone interesting. I can't imagine you're rostering Judas. Maybe you are. Probably not. No, 7.4K, you're not rostering him. He's not even going to get more than 3 innings or so. Stevie, Manaea?
No. Yeah, I mean, I'm not rostering a San Francisco pitcher not named Webb probably for the rest of the season. I mean, it's just not worth it. Like, why play Manaea throwing 40 or 50 pitches or Junis throwing 40? They both of them could go out and throw like 50 to 60 pitches, try to get like 3 or 4 innings from each of them. And why do that when you have Hancock, whose pitch count is probably 90 plus? He's fully stretched out. You can take Tuki Toussaint against the Cubs with the wind blowing in Chicago, at probably 90 plus pitches. I would play Fido before I would play either one of the Giants pitchers. And I mean, that's a stretch too, but I mean, I'm not.
And you're not playing Fido. You're not playing Fido, but I understand the point you're making.
Yeah. Not touching the Giants pitchers. Like I said, there'll be spots I think you can play maybe like an Alex Cobb or a Logan Webb, like guys are going to go out and throw normal starts. But yeah, I'm not touching the Giants pitchers outside of those guys. You
mentioned Toussaint, and even Hendricks. Hendricks, not a very appealing K rate, but he's a guy that can eat innings. If BABIP's on his side, you talked about that ballpark being conducive for pitching. Fire up the old weather edge, 162 previous games, similar weather in Wrigley. We're looking at 70 degrees. 60s the dew point, 10 miles per hour winds coming in from left center, 19% hit in homers, 8% hit in runs. You know, the White Sox are pretty inept. I think Hendricks is at least in the pool. I'm not happy about it. And the other thing, I kind of buried the lead that, you know, somebody talked about in chat, is we have these hurricane price gouging prices. DK lost their minds on some of these pitchers. I don't know how I'm supposed to find the funds. How do you justify these prices, Stevie? Because we're talking about, up top, Wheeler 11.6, Montgomery 11K for Montgomery, Giolito 10.7, outrageous. Okay, Ober maybe, I guess, against Detroit 10-2, but Waka coming off the IL at 9.8 is absurd. There's no chance you're paying that. And we live in the world of a salary cap, and smash the over. If you hit that 1.5 times there, bet the over on that. We got it in both times early, so there's no sweat. But that's the other part, Stevie. There's some pretty good pitchers and pretty good matchups that are fine, but these prices are just goofy. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, so Dean, trivia question. Ober has 19 starts this season. How many times do you think he scored more than 25 DraftKings points?
Well, you're framing this in a way where it's going to be. I know he's had a couple of really big outings. All right, I'll say the number, and Dre's going to go over or under. How many appearances is it?
19 starts.
I'm going to say, let's say 4.5.
I say under.
Yeah, you're right. It's 2. He's done it twice. So one of those was in the beginning of May. So a guy that's likely going to be 20-25% owned at 10K. At that point, I find the extra money to get Zach Wheeler. He's facing a right-handed team. He's very elite against righties. I find the money to get him. But Jordan Montgomery's price is ridiculous. Giolito against Texas. They're one of the better offenses in baseball. That's an easy fade for me. Waka coming off of the IL against a tough Baltimore lineup, easy fade for me. Where it gets interesting, I have a lot of interest today in Kikuchi. I have a lot of interest today in Elder. I think these are the guys that, you can build around that have some upside that still allow you to get Arizona, still allow you to get Dodgers, still allow you to get Braves. So again, prioritizing bats today. The Braves are in a fantastic spot. The Dodgers are in a fantastic spot. I mean, we would stack Arizona in any ballpark against Blotch. So yeah, just prioritizing bats, and these are the types of guys.
There's a little bit of pinch hit risk on the Arizona side for certain hitters. We'll talk about it when we get there. I'll just throw it. Ahmed, Kennedy, maybe Pham, wouldn't be surprised. And they have Alec Thomas, couple lefties in the bench, Thomas, Peterson, Lewis, the Bopper as well. So wouldn't be surprised if we get some hooks there. But since you had a trivia question, Stevie, I'm gonna throw one your way as well. I know you weren't prepared for this. There are 3 players in Major League Baseball that are tied for the most amount of wins in baseball. And Andre, feel free to play as well. One is Strider. Let's get Strider out of the way. Who are the other 2?
I feel like this is a trick question.
No, it's not a trick. It's not a trick. It's a fact. They're probably names you might not would have guessed. It shows you how dumb wins are.
Dylan Cease.
Not Dylan Cease.
I know he had a good amount of wins.
And just 13, by the way, is the number, which is really says a lot.
There was someone that I saw that who was I can't believe he had a lot of wins, and he barely, and he wasn't that great of a pitcher. I want to see this from the Blue Jays.
Both National League. The chat's going to catch up. They're going to play along. In Justin Steele is one of them. Justin Steele is one of them.
He had a bunch of wins, and it's not Eflin. Gallen had a bunch of wins. Gallen
TJ is answering it in chat, and he answered it on Twitter too. Yeah.
Oh, right. Walker. Where's Gallen? Gallen has to be up there, right?
Gallen has 12.
All right, that was close.
Yeah,
I got Justin Steele.
Yeah, at least
he's actually been good this year. But Taiwan Walker's got 13 wins as well.
That was what I was thinking of. He was, I don't know how.
Hoosiers in chat. Probably somebody on Dean's season-long team. Oh, you're my hero.
We got to get the season-long talk in. Unfortunately, neither one of those guys on my season-long team, but we're on a roll. We're going to make the playoffs, and the things are looking up for that. I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter. I'm sure people want to know how my season-long teams are doing. It's definitely very, very important contact. TJ,
Can we talk about Bryce Elder? Because chat's coming at me and asking me why I like Bryce Elder.
I'm not on him either, but go. I'm not gonna make fun of anybody because of the terrible pitchers I'm running out there. So I have no right. I'll be a big.
I mean,
I like
finally.
Elder too,
I'm glad you don't agree with me, Dean. Now I know I can at least make some money tonight. But yeah, I mean, 2 lefties in the lineup for the Yankees today. One of them, I mean, you're not totally worried about. You're worried about Bowers, if anything, and he's a 33% K rate guy. So Bryce Elder is awful against lefties, but he's still above average, pushing way above average against righties. 27% Ks over the last month, 5% walks, 260 WOBA, 130 ISO, like very good against righties. Now, granted, you're still facing Judge, Torres, Stanton, Bader. But I mean, Dre will tell you he watches his Yankees play. This is a team that strikes out a ton. Bryce Elder with these strikeout rates against righties, this is very good spot for Bryce Elder. Terrible against lefties, elite against righties. This is a great spot.
Dre, you want to double down as far as Elder?
No, that's what I said a little bit earlier. They strike out a good amount here, so that's why I don't mind taking a shot on Bryce Elder, even though he's had a couple of rough games. But I still think that he can get through this lineup and have a decent outing, especially at his price point.
The lineup is kind of funky too. Like it's not your.
I don't think Billy McKinney's in the lineup.
He's not. It's just Bowers and the catcher. What's his name? I can't think of his name.
Yeah, play like he's not updating.
Rortvit?
Yeah, like it's just a weird lineup. I think like this is a spot when you look at it, you're like, all right, Bryce Elder, he could easily excel in this matchup. Like I like his over on strikeouts. Like if you are in the pick'em streets, he has a 4 strikeout projection on Prize Picks. So I like the more than 4 strikeouts there. I think it's 4.5 on sports books, but 4 on the pick'em streets on Prize Picks. I like the more than.
I bet over on I had to pair somebody with like my taco, right? I think the taco was Matt Olson to get like a base, like a half a base, whatever. Get a single essentially. And I paired it with Kyle Hendricks to get like over like 25 Fanduel points, whatever it was. I think he's going to eke his way. I think he's going to do it. It's not going to be fun. I'm not going to be watching him necessarily, but we don't have a Chicago lineup just yet. I guess neither, right? Neither Chicago as far as we do. Never mind, we do. It's not great. There you go. Spoiler. It's not great. Anderson, Benintendi, it's the best they can do, I suppose. Robert, Jimenez, Moncada, Dahl, Colas, and Elvis. How's the Cubs lineup today? So my issue, Stevie, with you're talking about Elder, it's like I don't know what the difference between Elder and all these other guys that are like 2K less is kind of my concern. And I need that salary, I think.
I mean, a lot of ownership, that's for sure. I mean, no one's playing Bryce Elder today. It's the same spot as yesterday. Everybody was giving me crap about Rodriguez yesterday and telling me I was crazy for liking Rodriguez and played him and he smashed. Oh, dude, the prop shop. They were hating on my prop on Rodriguez yesterday. But yeah, I mean, this is a good spot for Elder. I do like Pivetta more. I think that he makes a lot of sense. I think Kikuchi's really interesting today as well. If we're just, searching for ceiling, like that's how you win tournaments, right? You're not winning tournaments by a guy scoring 12 points at pitcher. So like if you're searching for ceiling, that's where you're searching for. Elder's facing a high strikeout Yankees team. He can easily get 8+ strikeouts in this matchup and absolutely crush. He can also score -5 and they hit 4 home runs off of him. But I mean, that's the type of guys that you have to play in tournaments. So especially on this slate. So I think that this is a great spot for Elder. Does it work out? We'll see. I think it's a great spot for Kikuchi strikeout wise. Does it work out? We'll see. Tuki Toussaint, I mean, he has some strikeout upside here, but I get what you're saying, Dean. I don't disagree with you. I think there's some value in Oakland's lineup. We'll talk about when we start talking about like bats and a couple other spots that has some value as well.
You mentioned Kikuchi. He's one of my favorite tournament plays. I made a couple of shell lineups today on FanDuel before he jumped in the show. And by the way, if you're playing on FanDuel, do participate in the RotoGrinders single entry series. It just started yesterday. The $50 variety is going down. We cashed. I think we mid-cashed in it yesterday. Very exciting. Your top 4 scores amongst the 7 you play, assuming you play every single day. You don't have to play every single day, but if you just bank 4 days in a row, you can just retire and win yourself the single entry series, I suppose. Yeah, just some added value for that contest. By all means, jump in there if you're playing on FanDuel. But that was my guy. I have Kikuchi in at least one lineup, about two. And I think Montgomery was somebody I was considering. And I did get one with Wheeler since I had the salary, but I don't feel like I need him. Wheeler is probably the best pitcher on the slate, but it's not amazing. For what it's worth, the roof is closed in Toronto today. That Philadelphia lineup, it's pretty good up top, but the back end, it falls off. There are some Ks as well. Kikuchi in good form. I'm going to have more than the field, I think, on him. But, again, I don't feel great about anything. Dre, what's your official stance as far as you say? You say Kikuchi.
Kikuchi, I like him today. He's someone I'm definitely going to have a lot of interest in playing against a team in Philly that does have a good high strikeout rate. Especially over this past 30 days, it's been like at 27%. So to me, getting him with the way how he's been pitching lately is of interest to me. But like I said before, when we started the slate, he's probably like the highest I think I want to go tonight. I might play a little Zach Wheeler, but I want to focus more on like Kikuchi or less, like as far as the price range. Maybe Bobby Miller, but I highly doubt I'll get there. But because I do like Elder a good amount here, and I might want to try to get a couple other guys. But now, like as we're talking more and more over the slate, I'm slowly getting rid of some of my pitchers that I was on before.
I'm okay with Miller as well. Flaherty's another guy who like the change of scenery. It looks like it's helped. We've seen a spike in his velocity there in Baltimore. He didn't seem to be happy in St. Louis. He was fighting with reporters there, kind of falling out altogether.
Dean.
Yeah.
Let's bring facts. We saw a spike in his velocity for one start, and his velocity was right back down last start. Just wanted to pump the brakes a little bit.
You saying it was a hot gun?
Just wanted to pump the brakes. I do like Flaherty. I think the fit is way better for him. But I did some research today. People think we just do this for fun. But did some research on Flaherty today, and it was one start. He had a nice bump in his velocity, but right back in that like low 93 range on average against Houston last time out.
Yeah, the third he had 94.2%, 93.2 on the 9th. So it's higher than it was his last 3 or 4 starts in St. Louis, but not as high as it was the last start. Somewhere in the middle. Is that fair to say?
No, yeah, I'm just saying, like, when we saw the bump up to 94, we we're like, all right, this is great. But because he was in that like 93 range most of the beginning of the season when he was really struggling anyway. But yeah, it was nice to see the bump in that Toronto game. But Houston kind of back down. He is a guy that likes to rely on a curveball. So like if his velocity starts bumping up into that like 94, mid 94 range, the curveball is going to be more efficient, and the slider is going to be more efficient. So we definitely want to see, they said maybe Flaherty's family was in town for that one game. That was a good one. But yeah, I want to watch Flaherty over the next couple starts. I don't know if you necessarily need him today. I don't think he's necessarily a terrible play by any means because of the slate. But I just wanted to pump the brakes for you a little bit and just say, we saw an uptick one start.
Yeah, I mean, yes. We also can say we can pump the brakes on everybody because there's nobody being enthusiastic on this slate.
I'm excited to play some Bryce Elder. I don't know about you, but
you're more easily excitable than I am. You've taken some blue chew for Bryce Elder.
He's gonna get rocked now, and I'm gonna dean him now. But yeah, I'm excited to play him until he gets rocked. Like I dean mush him.
If he can survive 5, he should get a W. So that's something. Like the win value is worth something. But yeah, I just what are your jelly bean bets? I'm maybe I'll throw one of my pitchers against your Bryce Elder because I feel like I'm pocketing into the bid.
I mean, I do like some jelly beans. Starburst is my favorite.
Do you have a go-to flavor?
Yeah, Starburst. I just told you.
No, that's a brand. That's not a flavor.
The flavor of jelly beans, Starburst flavored jelly beans.
No, hold on a second. There's different colors in the bag, isn't there? Like there's a lemon one.
I like all of the Starburst jelly beans.
Let's jump away from jelly beans for a second. Just the old school, the throwback, the original Starburst. If you're gonna power rank, there's one color that's clearly the chalk, and I think we all agree on this. Maybe we'll see. Pink's the chalk. Not even close, right?
Pink is easily the chalk.
I do like red a lot too, though. But then you like read about like
It's
red
right.
dye stuff, and you're like, yeah, probably shouldn't be eating.
What have you read about red dye?
Oh, dude, you don't have kids. You don't understand. Anybody in chat that has kids understand red dye.
Is it like red
welcome.
number 4 dye or something like that?
You're welcome, Dean. I'm saving you, buddy.
Is it like yellow 5 from Mountain Dew or something like that? I feel like that was a thing too, but I don't know red dye.
Well, I just helped you with your I don't know what to do after the baseball slate licks tonight. You're going to be looking at red dye.
I mean, I will Google. Yeah, I'm inquisitive. So yesterday we had Chop on the show. He tried a oh man, what flavor was it? A churro flavored Kit Kat for the first time. Are you aware these things exist?
I'm a huge Kit Kat fan. I tend to dabble in the multiple flavors of Kit Kat. The dark chocolate mint one was fantastic.
He was besmirching the mint. That's funny you say that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. How can you go wrong with mint? Now the chat is just, let's see. Do you like jelly beans? Is the poll question put up by producer Steve. I wasn't. Did I say that I wasn't being anti jelly bean? Was I? That wasn't the take.
You did say you hate jelly beans. I swear I heard you say that.
I was just saying, like, when people think Starburst, the first thing they think of is like, the original, the square, right? Not the jelly bean. I think maybe the second thing is the jelly beans. All right. Hey, this is the things we talk about. August 15th, dog days of summer, still a month and a half before the regular season is up. Lineups coming out, by the way. We have Baltimore, Rushman leading off. Rushman, Henderson, Santander, O'Hearn, Mountcastle, Mullins, Hayes, Frazier, Urias. Pretty standard there for Baltimore. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Do all those things. Help us keep the proverbial lights on. We have TJ's Warrich in chat. That means Spidey is not too far. He said 100 likes. He will fire off his Spidey bombs. Dre, maybe you have a parlay for the people. What do you have to give away for the people?
If y'all want a parlay, I'll give away a parlay. I'll do it. You know what? I'll you know the normal. So I'll make one. I'll make one right now. I have a couple home run bets I like anyway, so I'll make a home run parlay, $1 million. Let's see what happens tonight.
Steve, you got anything for the people? What are you giving away? What sort of you got homers, you have dongs. What's your? You don't have an official gimmick, do you?
I don't need a gimmick, Dean. I've been doing this for 10 plus years. People just trust what I say. That's why people are playing Bryce Elder tonight. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't play him. Again, I wasn't besmirching. I was just like, he's just in the bucket of a bunch of guys that aren't great in the bucket. By the way, in the chat, Conscious Machine says, I worked in daycare. The red dye is horrible.
See?
So,
what up?
I don't know. Is that something? Can you? I have follow-up questions, but probably. Kirkwood hanging out in chat says, my kid has the runs. I'm a defeated man at the moment. So, yeah, well, that's unfortunate. And Stevie, your child's not feeling well, so hopefully your child feels better as well. Everybody's having something going on, I suppose, but we're going to power on through.
So, yes, I hope he feels better soon.
Let's see. We got, can we play? Jose wants to know if we can play Hudson in cash today. Oof, I'm not playing cash for the reason that, I didn't want to have to answer that question. But if you are playing cash, who are the cash pitchers? Let's run what do optimizers say? I think it depends what you're looking at. If you're looking at the bats, I believe the bat likes Hudson a fair bit. I don't think the MLB Plate IQ, now dollar for dollar wise, I should say. But if I run the MLB Plate IQ projections, Pavetta is going to be one. You're going to be playing Pavetta. Who's the second pitcher in cash on DK, Stevie?
I don't know. This is why I don't play cash games anymore. I would say, definitely playing Pavetta in cash. I think you can make an argument if you want to save some money for a Kyle Hendricks in cash. I personally would probably go Wheeler if I was going to play cash lineup. There's enough value, I think, that you can make Wheeler Pavetta work. So, I think that's where I would be.
Yeah, ideally, yes, but I don't. Yeah, it's as far as squeezing you when it comes to pennies, when it comes to the hitters. And I don't know how much I want to get squeezed when it comes to my hitters tonight. It's sort of my issue. For what it's worth, well, that's surprising. Pavetta number 1, ownership wise. I ran a bunch of optimals. 29% for that's it. It's really wide open. Jeez. Bailey Ober's getting 36%. Kikuchi 28, Montgomery 20. Zach Littell is getting 10%. And I added a bunch of variants to this for what it's worth also. So grain of salt. It really is wide open though. Somebody told me that in chat that apparently it's a revenge game for Zach Littell. I forgot about that. Does he remember?
Gotta get the revenge game in. He's gonna be throwing the baseball a lot harder than his 86-mile-an-hour pitch.
Well, that San Francisco team though is pretty. It's pretty underwhelming. We can say that. Who is Wade Meckler? Wade Meckler is a person that is projected to play baseball tonight for the Giants. Do we know who that is? Do we have a proof of life of Wade Meckler?
You said a proof of life.
Do we know who that is?
No, I don't know who that is.
Should I be aware of Wade Meckler? Stevie? Bueller? Meckler?
I'm looking him up now. I'm
Apparently
looking him
he's
up.
played one game.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Doesn't it like pop in my brain as like a huge prospect, but looks like he started the season in single A ball. Probably I don't know him. I do a lot of research on like double A and triple A for like season long stuff, but yeah, I mean this guy started the season in high A baseball, so
he apparently played last night and I missed it. He played yesterday. He made his debut yesterday. But he doesn't project great. And he's projected second for what it's worth. I mean,
overall baseball like prospect rankings, he's not there. He's 11th in the organization for the Giants. It seems like he got moved up really fast. So maybe like looking at his like minor league numbers this year, it doesn't make a ton of sense. But his WRC plus in AAA in 33 plate appearances was 188. Are they dealing with like injuries and stuff? Because I do think like maybe that's why, but he doesn't grade out as like a huge like power guy. He's more of like a speed on base, like used in the field type of projection player.
Yastrzemski's hurts. Haniger's hurts. Pollock is hurt. They're also projecting Johan Camargo, who I feel like is like not been in baseball for a while, at least the majors, in the lineup. We haven't seen this lineup just yet. For what it's worth, the San Fran projected lineup, it's going to be rough. It's been pretty bad all year. But, you know, Wade and Peterson and maybe Conforto are the 3 toughest bats, I suppose. And didn't we see Wilmer? Didn't Wilmer get scratched yesterday also? I think he was in the lineup, then out of the lineup. So he's another guy.
Infection.
He's got an ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we might see a really bad San Fran lineup. And I'm not here trying to pitch Littell, but, like, what's the difference between him and all these other guys? And he's cheap. So, like, sure, he's in the pool.
I think ceiling is probably the difference. I mean, I think that, like, he's more likely to get, like, 15 than maybe 25, where you could take some ceiling shots in this range. Like, I think it all depends on, like, your contest. Like, in a 3-entry max, I don't feel like you have to, like, go super high ceiling type guys or, like, a single entry max. So I don't know if you necessarily would need to find pivots in this range, but I still prefer Hancock or Toussaint in this range. Give
me the pitch on Toussaint. Did you give it yet? The Toussaint pitch? Outside he's cheap and the ballpark environment's pretty good.
I mean, that's obviously some of the best points here. Like, there's plenty of strikeout potential. He is a guy that his strikeouts against righties very good. So I mean, Swanson. I haven't even seen the lineup. Is the lineup out? The plate IQ not updating is throwing me off. I know they're working on it, but
it's on the lineups page.
I pulled it
Horner,
up. So
yeah,
I mean, there's enough righties in this lineup, you know, especially the bottom half: Suzuki, Gomes, Morel, Swanson, Horner. So I think there's enough righties in this lineup. Plus, he's a guy that has like 90 pitch plus upside as far as pitch count goes. His strikeout upside comes from facing righties. I mean, at one point, Tuki Toussaint was one of the like top prospects in the Atlanta organization.
Yeah.
It just didn't pan out, like injuries and stuff. And I mean, the skill is there. It's just the walks. The walks are the biggest thing. And I mean, at least like facing the Cubs, you know, you're going to get kind of a mix. A lot of these guys have 10% plus walk rates, but a lot of them have high strikeout rates. So I think Tukey is interesting. There's a lot of risk, obviously, in playing him. Like the walk's the biggest issue, the lefties, but I mean, a warning track ball is definitely more catchable with wind blowing in Wrigley than it going out.
Yeah, 15.9% walks is just unacceptable, is what it's been so far this season. But again, on this slate, sure, I guess you can. I see Devin in chat, producer Devin in chat, asking about Gamble being projected in the San Diego lineup. Not only is he projected in the lineup dropped, but he is in it. Ben Gamble, remember him? Kim leading off, Tatis, Soto, Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Sanchez back in there, Garrett Cooper DHing, and the number 9 hitter is the aforementioned Ben Gamble. And yeah, the chat was also mentioning the story with Zach Littell and Gabe Kapler when Kapler DFA'd him when he was on San Francisco. So a little bit of extra revenge. Like he doesn't like his manager on the other side.
He's definitely going for 16 fantasy points tonight. Big game.
Yeah, man, it's so wide open. I'm okay with playing him. I'm not excited about it. They're asked to talk about Waka in the chats. He's not going to get a full allotment of pitches, right? His first game back in a while. What are we projecting for him? 84, which seems kind of high, but I guess he was working hard on the side. We're not getting Waka.
He threw 67 pitches in his complex, like whatever they call that, like Arizona complex. They have one in Florida as well. So I would assume typically we see 10 to 15 pitch increases. So like I think 82, 85 probably max for Waka today. And like he's not a guy that like typically goes deep anyway. So I would assume like 85 top end for Waka today.
All right. We've talked a lot about pitching. We'll get to the hitters here in a second. Dre, can you give me the summary as far as pitchers? It's just such a mixed bag of like, this is truly the blender. Play whoever you want as far as pitchers, basically, outside of a few. But how would you summarize your approach to pitchers tonight?
Well, right now I got 8 pitchers in my player pool. I would summarize it as you can't play whoever you want. Probably play more so the cheaper guys that are in somewhat good strikeout matchups to have the upside to get you probably at least 15, I would say, because I think the highest score is going to be probably about 20, maybe 23. And if they cost you, and if it's a guy like in the 9K range or 11K range, you can find some value. If you there's a lot of value in those guys that are less expensive, and they can get you around that 15 fantasy point range, honestly.
Stevie, same question.
I think I have 3, maybe 4. So in a 3-entry max, I have 4. Fanduel, I play a single entry on Fanduel, so I just played the $50 single entry series team and a couple other things with that one team. So on Fanduel, I have Elder. Again, I think he has a lot of upside in this Yankees spot. Could easily work out. It could easily score -5, but very high on Elder, very high on Pavetta, very high on Tukey Toussaint, like Kikuchi, like Hancock.
Talking in chat about yesterday, Brady Singer. Yeah, shout out to Singer. He was on a couple of my best teams last night. He came through for me. The Singer Scherzer pairing did work out. I see some questions in chat. Watkins, thoughts on Fanduel? Like, why? You could roster anybody, but in Fanduel, I'm a little bit pickier. You're only rostering one. Steve, you tell Dre, you're not playing Watkins on Fanduel, right?
Yeah, just no.
Okay.
No.
Give me like your most ambitious, like Fanduel cheap pitcher. I don't know why we're playing Watkins. Or Toussaint is 7K. You can do that. Hudson 6'4". You can do that. Littell's 5'7". If you want all the bats in the world.
Yeah, like the cheapest. Yeah, Hudson would be probably one of the cheapest ones that you would even roster here. So yeah, other than that, I'm not going to even try to go with that type of guy. Watkins, no.
Stevie, Big Hurt wants to know your favorite pitcher on Fanduel single entry. Let me run down the ownership stuff, by the way, if people are curious. Pavetta, nobody really a big on chalk play. Single entry, the chalk tends to get pushed up. Pavetta currently 16% on Fanduel, but that's going to be higher in single entry. 13% for Hudson, 12 for Wheeler, 10 for David Peterson. By the way, somebody was asking David Peterson projected for 77 pitches, so not fully stretched out. I'm a little bit confused by his popularity that we're seeing here. Montgomery getting 10%, Ober 6, Miller 4, Hendricks 3, Kikuchi 2. He's my favorite. That's my answer for single entry on FanDuel. If you can get him like at 5% or 2%, that is my favorite. What say you, Stevie? Favorite single entry pitcher on FanDuel?
Dude, I keep hitting the wrong window on when I'm trying to tap in the YouTube chat. Sorry, Steve. My bad, buddy. My favorite single entry pitcher on FanDuel, for anybody that hasn't been watching the show, is Bryce Elder.
They're asking about the long man for Arizona today. Jarvis, 4K. I haven't looked into it, honestly. Bryce Jarvis. Stevie, is this something? I mean, look, I know the Rockies stink, but Bryce Jarvis is expected to come in, most likely, not guaranteed, after Mantiply. Is he somebody on your radar, or he's 4K on DK for what it's worth?
I mean, kind of below, like slightly below average, strikeout rate in AAA. Good swinging strike stuff. Relies heavily on a slider, which shouldn't be affected in cores as much as like a downward breaking curveball or a sinker. So, I mean, it is cores. The Rockies do stink. Blackman's back. The lineup is looking a little bit better with Rogers healthy as well. I don't do it personally. It's not my cup of tea. He's not like a guy that's going to go out and overpower teams with his fastball. He doesn't project as like a high throwing fastball type guy. So not for me today.
Looks like it'll be his MLB debut if he does make it. He is a former first rounder, but he's not a big prospect in the Arizona organization, at least according to Fangraphs. At the start of the season, he was the 35th ranked prospect, 25 years old. Not a soft landing spot outside of like the team being terrible he's facing, but again, no guarantee he's even playing. So I don't know, man. I don't think I'm doing that. I'm definitely not doing that. I don't make enough lineups to consider it. But this is not something that I want. All right, we're going to talk stacks in a second. Before we do that, do want to mention Stat Hero. Got to shout out Stat Hero, unique fantasy sports platform. You know them, you love them. They allow users to compete against the house instead against other players in a particular contest. The Searing 20 contest for MLB Pick'em, that is still going on. Join this free-to-play contest and win to start your streak. Keep your streak alive by playing each day. Build your streak, win prizes with consecutive wins, including swag, RotoGrinders Premium, and the cash prize. $20,000 first prize for the Searing 20. Use promo code GRINDERS, that's GRINDERS, GRINDERS, 50% deposit bonus, up to $250. Jump into the action today at Stat Hero. We also talked a little bit about NFL. NFL right around the corner. NFL is already here, basically, more or less. Preseason, you got best ball action going. We're more than ready, more ready than ever here. The experts at RG, as well as the suite of tools, let RotoGrinders handle the legwork so you can work less, win more this NFL season, get access to everything we have to offer at a special discount available. This is available only to those without a current RG subscription. You get a full season subscription for $50 off at a limited time price of $375 if you want in on that. I don't know exactly when that ends. There might be a prompt on the screen that I'm not seeing right now, but have at it. Of course, you can get the combination platter if you want every sport. That's another way to get NFL, but if you want NFL a la carte, you can get a full season, $50 off, limited time price, $375, only to those that do not currently have an RG sub. All right, so pulling up the stacks today, Andre, just pulling up the expert rankings as I get to it on the fly. Myself, Dave Potts, and Kirkwood. Kirkwood's going to be on later, by the way, with Kevin Roth. Not sure who's joining him. I should know this. Do you guys know who's joining Kirkwood? And I think it's TJ. Yeah, I think it is TJ. That's when you get those likes up. No, it's STL cards. Never mind. I lied. Doesn't matter. Still hit the like button. He's going to give you the Spidey bombs in chat anyway. And you got those Juggalo bombs coming from Kirkwood. Myself and Dave Potts, as well as Kirkwood. Not surprisingly, Andre, we got Atlanta 1, Arizona 2, consensus-wise, Dodgers, Cardinals, Boston, Colorado, and Minnesota. That's our consensus rankings. How do you feel about that as far as stacks today? It seems pretty clear that Atlanta and Arizona are 1-2. maybe a little bit of a gap to the Dodgers. But yeah, your thoughts when it comes to stacks today?
Okay, so I was actually trying to rank them right now. I'm writing it down. I don't have a problem with the Atlanta 1, Arizona 2, Dodgers 3. I think Cardinals and Seattle are close for me. I like Seattle a lot, a good amount today. I think Seattle might be my fourth favorite team. Going against Jordan Lyles, so I got them 4, and then I got St. Louis at 5.
Stevie, what say you? Do you agree? You disagree? Anything too high? Anything too low? Atlanta number 1, then Arizona, then the Dodgers, St. Louis, your Red Sox, Colorado, and Minnesota.
So I have a ton of interest in Seattle, and I don't think I heard you mention them. I would rank them like 3rd or 4th as overall stacks today. I think that they're in a fantastic spot against Jordan Lyles. You got to be able to attack Seattle with like strikeouts, because if you don't, they have a really sound lineup. They called up some young talented hitters as well, so we get some value as well in the Seattle lineup. So I would have Seattle up there. But yeah, I mean, Arizona, Dodgers, Braves, Seattle would probably be my top 4.
Same thing as me.
You're talking about the young guys on like
Canzone.
Who you have? See, you don't listen to me. That's fine. But you don't listen to Andre either. Both of us
No,
across
so
the board.
I was building a Yankees stack really quick. My bad. I talked about this on the morning grind, and I almost forgot to do it. I have Elder a lot in so many different places that I talked about on the morning grind today. I was like, I got to build a hedge Yankee stack, and I almost forgot to do it. And I would have been really mad if Elder gets blown up tonight, and I didn't have my hedge stack.
We have a TJ in chat dropping his Spidey bombs, and he's just. I think you got a peek at my my current shell lineup on Fanduel, because both my hitters. Both these guys are currently in my lineup. Alec Burleson batting cleanup today for St. Louis. He's 2.2K, an awesome punt du jour. Good matchup as well. 6-1 currently, according to TJ on the Fanduel Sportsbook. That's pretty good for him, the homer. And Michael Harris. I love Michael Harris. Love the Braves. The Braves are fantastic. The lineup takes a slight hit with the absence of Ozzie Albies, but it also benefits Harris, because Harris jumps from the 9 spot to the 2 spot, essentially playing the role of Albies. He has that speed, a little bit of power there too, and just, the price is not fully adjusted to his new spot. And Severino has been, and even I think Dave wrote this in his article. I was looking at his numbers in the season. I wanted to write like it's the best offense in baseball or it's the worst pitcher in baseball. And Adam Wainwright, to the best of my knowledge, still is in baseball. So I guess I can't totally say that, but maybe soon Wainwright would be out. But Severino, one of the worst pitchers in all this season, obviously. An ERA, if you care for ERAs, over 8. The Sierra is 5+. And he's been especially terrible against lefties. Love Harris. Love that Atlanta lineup up and down. The Nicky Lopez thing has got to stop. He can't keep getting away with this. It's Nicky Lopez, but
he's the best hitter in baseball. What are you talking about?
I mushed him the other day, and I did play him in a lineup or two just because of salary reasons, but like, obviously, this is goofy. This is really getting goofy. He did homer off like a shortstop too. So let's understand, like, pump the brakes a little bit. You want to pump the brakes, Stevie, on Flaherty and his his velocity being up. Pump the brakes on Nicky Lopez. You're begging for singles basically.
Hey, I'll take singles from him. He steals.
Yeah. And it's just it keeps the line moving. If you're stacking,
Severino is awful.
It's not good. It's been a rough season. Trey, you still watching your Yankees? And if you watch, you don't plan on watching Severino versus Atlanta tonight? Is that going to be fun for you?
I will not be watching that tonight, but
he's going to watch it to watch his Brave stack destroy his pitcher.
Yeah, I'm going to have a Brave stack definitely for sure, but I will not be watching the Yankees. Just it's disappointing this year, but I mean, Aaron Judge has been out a lot of the season, a good portion of the season, to say not a lot, but still think that they can do better. I think we should really try to revamp things a little bit with our organization, get a few more lefties, I think, but who am I? I'm just a guy.
Y'all should have tried to get Matt Olson when he was available. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the thought.
I think
he probably plays pretty well in Yankee Stadium.
He would be amazing. I think we should try to get Shohei too, but I mean, Yankees throw money at everybody. Let's throw $750 million at him.
Dre, I was told he's resigning, and then they really went for it. They went and traded for Randall Grichuk and CJ Crone, so they really showed him that, like, despite the fact the organization's had a winning season since 2016, it's a winning culture there for the Angels. I'm just trailing. Because I won't go on my rant about Ohtani, but depriving all of us baseball fans of him being in the playoffs and getting nothing for him next year, and Mike Trout's going to be all alone. It's going to be so sad.
I think it was smart. we can do no. So the next time we're on a small slate, we got to talk about this because I think it was smart what the Angels did.
Okay, all right. Okay. We'll put the conversation on pause. By the way, the dongs. I'll give a couple dongs to the people. Alex Faedo gives up a lot of fly balls. He gives up a lot of homers, and Minnesota is really cheap. I was the one, by the way, that put Minnesota at 5. In part because they're really cheap. Polanco, Kepler, Royce Lewis is back. We haven't seen Royce Lewis in a while. All these guys, a whole bunch of them are like Correa's like 2.7 on FanDuel. Polanco's leading off like 2.9. Kepler's like 2.7. They're all cheap on DK as well. Minnesota's kind of the stack that's gonna help me make stuff work as like a mini stack. I don't think I'm gonna fully stack them, but Gallo's got a bunch of power, obviously. All or nothing guy. Let's pick a couple of these twins. And usual rules apply. I can't tell you which one, but at least one of these guys amongst Polanco and Kepler is going to homer today. And that's good enough, right? 1 out of 2. That's pretty solid, Stevie.
Sorry. Yes, 1 out of 2 sounds great. The picture they put up on the screen with your mustache from Grant, yeah, just threw me off. But I don't even know who you said. The picture went up. I laughed. No clue who you said. But hey, sounds great. 1 out of 2 home runs. Sounds good.
Apparently, Lopez is 20-1 to homer on Caesars, and TJ saying you should bet it. I guess it's possible. Maybe he gets an inside the parker. Did you see Witt's inside the park home run yesterday? What nonsense that was. It was an error in the outfield, but you can't do that. And you can't take away a home run from the hometown boy, Bobby Witt. Whenever, almost all inside the park home runs have some kind of goofy error, or like obviously an awkward bounce or something like that.
Or like a collision, yeah.
Yeah, well, just the player he lost the ball in the lights, and that means it's a home run automatically. Butthole Jenkins wants to know, who do they say was the top pitcher in the slate? Did we say who the top pitcher was? Dollar for dollar, we're saying Pivetta, right? I guess that's the unanimous decision.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we got for you. Any new lineups pumping out? Oh, you know what? There were some weather issues with Pivetta earlier. Did Roth update his weather?
He did. He said the stuff before the game has moved through. We're just fading some potential showers throughout the game. So, I mean, if you wanted a reason to get off of Pivetta, I mean, one rainstorm over the ballpark, and if you lose it, so.
Just went ahead and dropped the link in chat. The diciest potential game tonight looks like the Mets. Pittsburgh at the Mets is currently yellow-orange. I don't know if this was updated from earlier today. Of course, Roth will be on in about 10 minutes or so. We mentioned the game in Chicago. The winds are blowing in. I think Coors Field had a fire emoji, which is always kind of interesting. How are you handling that, Dre, as far as your lineups? How are you handling Colorado? I guess namely more so Arizona. Walker looks like a really, really strong play. There's some great pivots at first base. Freeman is certainly one. Matt Olson is a spectacular pivot. Casas is one of the hottest hitters in baseball the last month as far as basically any offensive category, and the price is not fully adjusted, especially on FanDuel. And I don't know if you mentioned Goldie on FanDuel is like 3.3, which is pretty goofy. You gotta win first. You can't miss it first because I don't know who it's going to be, but several of these guys are going to have big nights.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And I think you have to play both sides of the game just because the pitching also is not that great on either side. So I'm only running 3 lineups tonight. I'm gonna probably I'm not sure if I'm running a stack of it. I know I'm running a stack probably of Arizona, but I might run just maybe just do a mini stack of Colorado, just so I have some exposure to them as well. but I do like, or even just a mini saga Arizona too as well. It would probably work in a lot if you have the right combination. So I definitely think you need to play that game for sure, though. Like to me, 5-man or even a mini sack, either or, I think works. But just since I'm only running 3, I'm going to run just one on each side.
Stevie, you're doing your thing as far as what three entry max lineups? Is that the plan today?
Yeah, I think I have 4 on DraftKings, 1 on FanDuel. So yeah.
So what's the approach as far as the Diamondbacks, as far as Atlanta? What's the official plan?
Play them. I mean, they're in great spots.
Yeah.
I mean, like you make it work. I mean, we kind of talked about it when we were talking about pitching, right? We talked about how I want to build out my stacks before I build out my pitching. And I mean, one of the reasons that I'm on Elder so much is because it kind of fits and he's not popular in chalky stacks. So where am I creating leverage? Oh, I'm creating leverage with Bryce Elder.
Pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of those slates where you can build the lineup backwards and like build your stack and whatever pitchers fit. It's like, okay, I guess I can play this pairing. Dodgers lineup is out as expected. It's Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Muncy. Oh, JD Martinez is back. That's good. David Peralta, Hayward, Outman, and Rojas. That is your Dodgers lineup. Waiting for the Rays, waiting for the Giants, waiting for the Brewers. I believe I have everything else. I don't know if we're rostering those teams up. I guess you can get. Yeah, it's a 13-game slate. I guess the Rays are kind of sort of somewhat interesting, but whatever. It's bad ballpark. The absence of Franco weakens that lineup. Is the 2K cheapie going to be in there again? Basabe, if you need a 2K cheapie, maybe he's somebody you can look at shortstop. Let's see. We got 5 minutes, give or take, until crunch time comes in. Fire off your questions in chat. Yes, I did kind of sort of somewhat mush Jordan Walker yesterday, who had a bases clearing double. Also jumped up to the 5 or 6 spot today because that St. Louis lineup is weaker than it is usually. We're without Contreras. Contreras got hurt running the bases yesterday, and he got pulled, and I guess he's a hamstring, it looked like. So we have Kisner in there. Starting the leadoff is Nootbaar, Goldie, Arenado, Burleson. Again, cleanup 2.9 on DK. I want to say 2.2 on FanDuel. O'Neill, Tyler O'Neill's 2.5 on FanDuel. So St. Louis is really cheap, and almost a team total towards 6. I think we'll be talking about him a little bit more, if not for the Braves, if not for the Diamondbacks, and again, specifically more so on FanDuel. After Walker is Kisner, Mater, and Edmund goes from the 1 spot to the 9 spot because it's a righty starting and not a lefty. All right. Dre, did we get your homers, or we get your thoughts as far as the parlay? Whatever you want to give out to the people, by all means. I think we have 150 likes. Am I lying? We don't have 150 likes. We should. We're getting there.
How much are we at now?
119. Yeah, it's embarrassing to even say.
Yeah, if we get to 150, I'll definitely release the parlay. But I will give up someone I do like to hit a home run today. I do like Wallner to hit a home run in that Minnesota game that we're talking about. So that's one of the guys he's not going to be on the parlay. But I do love him for that game. I have a couple guys for that Minnesota game to hit a parlay, hit a home run, but he is definitely on that list of one of them.
There was a question in chat from Mr. Richard. What are some good secondary stacks on DK for MMA? And I love the Minnesota side. There's power up across the board. If you look at the plate IQ, right, everybody, with the exception of Donovan Solano, is in some version of green, meaning they have power. And Faedo serves up fly balls, serves up homers, and they're all cheap, basically. Minnesota really, really could be helpful. Do you have a preference in the Minnesota side besides Wallner, Dre? I think Kepler is he could be cash game playable. Perfectly fine with that. But you tell me, besides Wallner, anybody else kind of popping for you?
I like pretty much almost all of them. Carlos Correa, I think he's going to come out of a slump. I think he's going to start hitting the ball well too late. So I like him a lot. I like getting to probably more so the middle of this order. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. I would say it's like my favorite. I don't mind Polanco or Julian as well, but I would focus more in that middle area of that lineup.
Stevie, some of your favorite secondary stacks on DK for MME would be who?
Oakland and Seattle. I mentioned Seattle earlier. Oakland's cheap, so like if you're trying to play one of those top end stacks, Dakota Hudson's a pitch to contact guy. So if you want to take shots on Geloff, Roker, Brown, Butler in that 7 spot, he's a guy that grades out as a big power hitter that just got called up recently. If you need a cheap catcher, they have a cheap catcher. So yeah, I mean Oakland's a team that I'm definitely targeting for like secondary stacks, one-offs on this slate.
Let's see, Stevie. Eric wants to know thoughts on the Padres and the Mets. Mets 5-man stack, just the Padres in general. The gutless Padres. I'm sure that's what Kurt will have to say in a couple minutes. San Diego and the Mets. How excited are we about them tonight?
I mean, Faulkner stinks. But the problem is this game's in Citi Field, which kind of limits your upside, I think. I think if you're playing the Mets, it'd be more of like a Lindor, Alonso, Alvarez, like secondary type of stack. I don't see this being like a full-on Mets stack for me today. And what was the other team that you said? The Padres?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Padres are okay. But this isn't a spot I'd stack them at their prices.
That's kind of where I'm at too. But if you're running a bunch of lineups, like sure, include the Padres. If you're making 5, I mean, I'm not going to, but not going to say you can't.
I don't think I'd get to the Padres in 150 teams today.
Oh, wow. Okay. I hear you.
I mean, they're expensive. Like you're prioritizing the Padres over like the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks, the Braves. Like they're the same type of pricing.
Yeah, but you're facing, well, I mean, Flaherty has a walk problem sometimes, and that's kind of like, I like that. I like facing pitchers that have walk problems when I'm stacking.
But you like playing 10% of everybody. If you like to
win
tournaments, then
that's not true. That is a
joke. It never gets old.
Lie.
It never gets old. No, it never gets old.
Dre, we had a question about Butthole Jenkins wants to know. This is a great question. It really sums up the slate. Littell or Hancock? This is what we're talking about.
Littell or Hancock?
Yeah.
Just give me Hancock.
Stevie, Top Shot Naked HD. Can we get some of Stevie's beans calls?
No, we're not. Black beans on my Chipotle?
No,
I'm in.
No, jelly beans. That's your whole gimmick is jelly beans. That's your whole bit.
I already said. Bryce Elder is my jelly bean bet today. Okay, so if you want a home run that no one's playing today, give me Dominic Canzone from Seattle. Big time power, young hitter. Great matchup in that against Jordan Lyles. So there you go.
They're talking about umpires. I saw there was an extreme hitters umpire in Coors today. That's fun.
You see who's umpiring for Bryce Elder today? Yeah, buddy.
I'm getting to it now. Who is it?
CB Buckner, baby.
So he's not an extreme pitchers umpire, but I think
we all know he's an extreme pitchers umpire.
Okay. I mean, like I've seen him. Yeah, he's not the worst, but some of these guys, like I know it's a tough job, but like you have one job. Extreme hitters umpire for Tuki Toussaint, extreme hitters umpire for Hendricks. So we got one in Chicago, and one in Coors. So what is Buckner? Just a pitcher's umpire? I assume is what he's labeled as.
He's a good pitcher's umpire. And Eric in chat says, "Have you talked about the Cubs all slate?" I would play the Cubs before I would play the Padres today.
Mm-hmm. The Cubs are a sneaky team. I love them as a secondary stack today. Like Cubs and Texas, and no, we're not talking about Texas either. But I think even Texas had a big game yesterday. I think they are definitely good as a sneaky stack.
Clay Walker says Eugenio Suarez goes yard tonight. I don't hit that. I like that call. He's pretty cheap as well. Is he still batting second? He is. Let's see. Is there a reason we're not stacking the Cardinals versus Spencer Watkins? Well, I am. So speak for yourself.
Yeah, but I haven't hyped the Cardinals. 10%, baby.
Well, no.
7%? All right. I
got a really concise pool. Like either things are going really well for me or it's not going well. It seems that way. But yeah, again, that's more so on FanDuel. Not saying I'm not playing them on DK, but the prices for the Cardinals on FanDuel are really, really appealing. They're pretty goofy. So I can't speak for making a lineup on DK just yet. I'm going to do that once I get off the show here. But is Peterson? Bossbro is asking about Peterson. Is that Jock Peterson? Oh, it's Peterson for the Mets. I don't really see it. It's sort of fine, but there's some weather issues at Roth that's going to clear up in a second, or at least talk about it. And then he's not fully stretched out. They're going to let him go like, 75, 80 pitches or so. It's a bad Pittsburgh lineup. We should acknowledge that. It's really bad, especially the back end. Anybody have a Peterson take? Because
yeah, I'm not. Like I said, the pitch count, but then also the weather. I think it's supposed to be raining. I think on and off until like 10, I believe, or something like that. So I'm not messing with it at all.
T from LOC said, "Who's my guy? My guy is Michael Harris. He's like the guy. It's like, I made 3 lineups. He's in every single one of them early, so we'll see. I know he's going to be popular, and it's a 13-game slate, whatever. But I'm getting a little bit different elsewhere, and I also make lineups for contests that have like 500 people. I'll throw them in the contests that have like 20,000 people just in case I, hit the nuts and the perfect combination, that kind of thing. But the purpose of me lineup building is, I'm playing against 300, 400, 500 people, that kind of thing. So I don't have to get too crazy necessarily. We do have looks like Roth knocking in the door momentarily. I see STL cards. I see Kirkwood. Roth, welcome. What's going on? Happy Tuesday.
Thank you. Good to be here.
What's your favorite flavor of Starburst?
I think you're an absolute lunatic if your choice is not either the red or the pink.
There you go. Cards, your favorite flavor of Starburst is what?
Yeah, I agree. We actually, on the rare occasion that we buy them, we buy the all red pack that only has the reds and the pinks in it.
Nice.
Because nobody eats the other ones.
Good move.
Cards is the man who gets it. Red Vines and pink Starburst. This man, I like your style.
Red Vines are the best. I remember one time
people hate them. We're the very minority.
Yeah, we got a packet. My roommate and I in college got a package of Red Vines at they were back when they were like $1. It's like $3 now, but I think we demolished the whole package of Red Vines in one evening. Didn't feel too good afterwards, but yeah, Red Vines are better than Twizzlers in my opinion.
Me too.
Kirkwood, how did you know that random fact about cards that he was a big Red Vines guy? Like, what's the backstory?
I just remember. It was definitely mentioned on a show, and I remember he and I were, and we were the only two that like were passionate about Red Vines.
I also have to know why the Discord is going nuts about Nicky Lopez. Dean, did you?
Because he's going nuts. He's just going nuts. That's what's going on. Have you been watching Nicky Lopez in an Atlanta uniform?
Yeah, but now people are talking about Nicky Lopez to hit a home run. I mean, the dude's got 6 in his career. He's not going to do that.
Well, there you go. Let's see if you have the Bush abilities. He's 20-1 on Caesars.
Don't dare me, cards. Don't dare me.
Dre and and Stevie. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Anything else, the boys, before we step aside and make way for the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time?
I mean, if you like red candy, you should definitely check out Red Dye 40 and not let your kids have it. But outside of that, Roth, I'll see you tomorrow for Crunch Time. We get to hang out a little bit. And Cards, good to see you. Kirk, I hope the baby starts feeling better. That sounds awful. Been there, done that. Don't recommend it. Yeah, so Dean, hope you enjoy your 10%. Everyone, thanks for watching. See ya.
Kirkwood, how many diapers have you changed today?
Way too many. It's like a faucet. It's like just, and I feel so bad. I mean, I'm a defeated man. I'm like, I could barely make this show. And I mean,
so is it a stomach flu that we've got going on here?
Started 2 days ago. And it's hasn't stopped, and we're trying doing like the bananas, the rice. We're getting into all of that now, but I just feel so bad for him because it's like the rash, and he's like obviously hurting in pain, and it sucks. But
okay, well that was an awkward way to end it. I think Dean just peaced out.
He did. He just left.
Dean just dropped.
Dean hates children. I mean, that's his.
Well, have a good one, you guys. Enjoy the show.
See ya. With that, we're going to pivot right onto it. Hey, welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crunch Time. It's sponsored by FanDuel. It's the show where we bring on 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. Got STL Cards in the house. What up, Cards?
Hey, not much. Kids start school back tomorrow around here, so parents are celebrating, and it's absolutely gorgeous outside today. So, yeah, nice summer day here in the Midwest.
We actually had a cold front move through Houston today, And the high temperature, I shit you not, is 106 degrees with the cold front moving through. So that's been fun. I'm jealous of your nice weather. Kirkwood, I'm not jealous of what you got going on, man. Hope the baby gets better soon. How are you outside of the diaper changing?
Yeah, outside of that, everything is fine. Got some friends in town. It's been nice that I haven't seen. A best friend of mine moved to. He's from the Netherlands, so he lives in Amsterdam, and he's here visiting for a week. So that's been nice.
Nice, excellent. All right, well, hey, some folks already were mentioning the weather concerns, so let me dive right into that. There are 2 games with the potential for rain, and I actually want to start in New York this morning. I thought that was definitely going to be the ugly game, but it looks like the vast majority of those storms are going to hold south of New York, and I think they get maybe the entire game in without any problems. I think whatever you want to do in New York, you should just do it, whether that's hitters or pitchers. I think it probably works out. And I know there was some talk about pitchers there. I think you've got 2 hours from now, maybe 2 to 3 hours until I think there's even the threat of rain. So I think pitchers are going to be fine there. Maybe you get some late inning showers and storms, but I like it for the most part, New York. Second game is Washington, where the most likely thing that's going to happen is a few showers and storms pop up somewhere around the ballpark and the game plays fine without a hitch. It's not out of the question that one of those storms goes up over the ballpark, and these things are going to sit there for like 2 or 3 hours. So if one goes over the ballpark, this could go from everything is fine to this game isn't finishing like really fast. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you just stick with it, but just know there's like a 5 to 10% chance of it being a very, very bad outcome. And I suppose Washington will have no say in it because the game will probably start on time at least. So we got that going for us. But does that work for you, Kirkwood? You cool with just being like, all right, we're going to eat that small risk?
10%. I mean, no big deal.
Yeah. What do we even do?
Unless it happens, and then I'm gonna be on Twitter later, and I'm gonna be flaming you from a couple burner accounts. But
that's fair. That works. I'm okay with that. By the way, Dre in the chat says 150 likes. He's gonna post $1 million parlay in 5 minutes. I think he usually posts it on his Twitter. So make sure you're checking that out. Also, I mentioned the show is sponsored by Fanduel. That's important. We should give them some love here. Sign up for the Fanduel Sportsbook. If you're in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. If you're in Tennessee, Arizona, Colorado, or Illinois, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. If you're in Washington, West Virginia, Indiana, Iowa, and all other legal sports betting states, you can get a no-sweat first bet for up to $1,000. Terms and conditions do apply. With that, we will dive into the content side of things. Dean says, Roth, do we have a time when that 5 to 10% chance would hit Washington? It could be early. It could be. There's already storms starting to pop up. So it could be literally any time from now to 10 p.m. That's a good question, though.
Maybe Washington will decide to wait to start the game just in case.
Honestly, that thought briefly crossed my mind 20 minutes ago, and I just got so irrationally angry at something that hasn't even happened and probably won't. But that thought did cross my mind. Hopefully, they won't do that. If they have a late start, I don't know what we'll do then.
That would be hilarious just for the content.
It really wouldn't. We're gonna get kicked off of YouTube with my F-bombs if it does. Cards, you want to kind of walk us through this slate? Maybe start with some pitching.
Yeah, it's not a great pitching slate for a full evening. That's for sure. It's there's a lot of okay pitchers on the mound. I don't know whoever's running the DraftKings pricing algorithm like completely cranked up the knob on pitching prices today. It's through the roof. We've got guys like Jordan Montgomery, who's been in the 8Ks, is 11K on DraftKings tonight. It's a little more palatable on FanDuel, where obviously the pricing isn't quite as extreme and you only get one pitcher. But there's nobody that you really have to have tonight. And then there's obviously, with there not being a lot of top end pitching, there's a lot of good offense to target tonight. So in my mind, saving money at pitcher might be the way to go. Certainly not that you can't play like one spendy guy on DraftKings or something like that, but like Zach Wheeler is 11.6. Bailey Ober is 10.2. Those are just those are hurricane prices for guys that don't the highest projection that we have, we don't even have anybody projected above 20 on DK. So I don't think you have to spend the night. Like a lot of people get FOMO for not playing any of the top pitchers, but if there's one night to do it, I think it's probably tonight. I mean, we've got tough matchups for Giolito facing Texas. Michael Wacha's just coming back from injury. Zach Wheeler, who's probably going to be the chalky, like safe play in Toronto at his elevated salary. So if we just ignore salary, I think, Wheeler and Ober and Montgomery are fine, probably in that order for me. But I don't think you have to go there tonight because we've got the Braves, we've got the Dodgers, we've got the Cardinals in a good matchup against Oakland. Boston's projected for over 5 runs. We've got a Coors Field game with a 12.5 total. So to me, I want to save as much money as I can to try to spend on those bats tonight. I think it's going to be a high-scoring slate, and that has me underweight on these top-end options. I'd rather go a little bit cheaper. And so you get to guys like Nick Pivetta, who's been very good when he's gotten the run over the last couple of months. If he's a full starter, full go tonight, and there's no weather issues there in Washington, at 7,800 on DK, he's probably the starting point for me. Peterson is fine as a punt. Kyle Hendricks, even against the White Sox, who don't hit right-handed pitching very well. Like, I just don't see a path to where somebody's going to have this blow up 12 strikeout performance on this slate. So yeah, give me the cheap combos tonight. Probably Pivetta and Peterson as my favorites. And then that'll give you all the salary to spend on the bats. And I even think you can do that in cash games tonight. I think most people will take the, one spend route on DK, but I don't think you have to.
Okay, very good. Kirkwood, I want to bring you in here. And is the chalk going to be these cheap, kind of crappy, not trustworthy guys? And if so, does it make sense to overspend for some of these pitchers at like low ownership, I assume?
Yeah, maybe. But my whole strategy lately is paying down at pitchers anyway because of the great hitting weather that we get every day, the hot humidity and humid. Yes, I think there's the dew point model. So anyways, the highest pitching K prop we even have in the slate is 6.5, which usually we have like guys in the 7.5, 8, like somewhere around there and juiced up. And like we have them all juiced down at 6.5, and that's like the highest. So, and then I don't think that I think Dakota Hudson is going to be somewhat popular. I want to hear Card's take on that one because it's one of his hometown guys. But it's just crazy to me. It's kind of like Mikolas chalk yesterday, which I thought was crazy. I'm not playing a guy who has absolutely no strikeout ability. I at least want like a chance. But your strategy for tournaments is definitely in play because one of these top guys, even though the median outcome is not for them to have a huge game. We don't have the Spencer Striders, any of these top guys, but they still can do it. It's in their range of outcomes. And if it does happen, then that's going to be very valuable tonight, assuming that if some of these bats fail. But these bats are in some great spots. So I'm going low. I think Pivetta is too cheap, period. Like he hasn't been, he's been kind of a reliever. He's only started, I think, 2 out of his last 6 appearances, but he's ready to go. He's rested and he's priced at 7.8, and he's got the highest K percentage on the slate for the season and over the last 30 days by a wide margin. The problem is that Washington doesn't strike out a ton, but it's a really safe matchup for him. And so I'm just going to take that price, and then I'm just going to go low with my other guy, but I'm not going Hudson. I'm going to go to Emerson Hancock. Which is scary. Don't get me wrong, but he's a young. This is his second start. He pitched pretty well and had a lot of good promising signs for me. And against the Padres in his first one, his swinging strike rate is at a decent level, and I like this whole repertoire of pitches. So he's only 5.5. So he's the guy that I'm pairing with Pivetta, and then I'm just I'm playing my Braves like I say to do every slate.
Yeah, and that usually works out pretty good every slate as well. Who was the guy that you wanted to get Card's take on? What was his name?
Yeah, that's Hudson because he's the pitcher for the Cardinals. So Yeah, he's been better lately, but isn't a big swing and miss guy. So he's not going to strike a lot of guys out. He gets a lot of ground balls. He's facing Oakland. He's got a pretty high pitch count. I think we've got him at, or the bat has him at 107, which that's a bit lofty for a pitch count. But yeah, I prefer Emerson Hancock in GPP is just because maybe you get access to a little bit more ceiling. Hudson's certainly fine, but right now we've got him as like the second highest owned guy on, maybe the third highest owned guy on DraftKings, and I don't really love that for a limited ceiling guy. So he's safe enough. He's 5,800, but I kind of agree that I think going to some of those other cheap options that the two of us mentioned are probably my favorite path.
Okay, James in the chat says, anyone like the Seattle pitcher? Kirkwood, I don't know who the Seattle pitcher is.
That's that other cheap guy. Yeah.
That's Emerson Hancock.
Gotcha. Okay, so the answer is yes. There is some love for Hancock. Okay, any other names you want to throw out? Mr. Donk says, I'm kind of interested in Littell because the Giants lineup last night was just apparently comical, and they might run it back. Any interest from either of you there?
It's limited.
I think it's fine. I ended up not going in that direction. I know Cheese likes him. He mentioned him in the article. I think he ranked him higher than other people. I'll double check that while go on to the next.
Yeah, I mean he's kind of become a starter now. So, but he's still probably not going to go beyond 80 pitches. His strikeouts the last 4 starts 5, 1, 4, 3. So another guy kind of in that Hudson mold that just isn't going to go super deep in the game. It is a revenge game for him. He did pitch for the Giants, so if you take stock in that.
Yes, see, Cheese is definitely all over that narrative, so that's why he ran. He's the only one to rank him today. So
that's the only reason Cheese likes him for sure. Okay, last name, and then we'll move on and talk some stacks here. K-Town's Finest says, the last group of guys called me crazy, but Watkins on FanDuel cards. Is that crazy?
Yes, that is crazy.
Sorry, I just want to give one more guy.
Yeah, please.
I really like Kikuchi. Tonight, he's been really solid as of late. His numbers over the last 30 days have looked really positive. And Philly has, against left-handed pitching, they're a top 5 matchup. They're 4th in strikeouts and 17th in WRC plus. They're kind of a below average against lefties. So I think this is a really good spot for him. And he's kind of the highest guy that I'm getting to.
Okay, very good. I want to talk stacks just a quick note first. We are going to end this show 5 minutes earlier than normal. We've got some behind the scenes things happening. So just a heads up, this show ends at 7 o'clock Eastern sharp. So get your questions in, get your lineups in before then.
And I thought I was going to have an awkward conversation because I have to dart at 7:05 for a back to school conference. So I guess that's solved.
It works out pretty nicely that way. All right, let's dive into the stacks. Kirkwood, I know where you're starting. It's the Braves. They score 10 runs every night. They're probably going to do it again.
It's the Braves. They're only missing one player now, Ozzie Albies, for basically the first time. Like their lineup has been as secure as it gets all season. But yeah, I mean, they just hit dingers, right? Like night after night. They're against Severino, who is just horrendous. It's between him and Wainwright, who are for the 2 worst pitchers of the season this year.
Yeah, it's Waino.
Yeah, but Severino's right there. He's definitely in the conversation. So this guy's given up massive amounts of power to the lefties and righties. Who knows how long it'll last, but this is going to be a field day. The only thing I worry about is, him just like walking Olsen. But I'm playing him. That's my first. From there, we have a bunch of good ones. So, I mean, we've got Coors Field, right? Arizona, the second game, when things start to usually heat up a little bit out there. Nice weather, 90 degrees, and an extreme hitter's ump. So, and two bad pitching situations. One bad pitcher in Ty Blanc, lefty that works for like Ketel Marte, who really has much better splits against left-handed pitching. Christian Walker is a great play. Gurriel, Pham, all these guys have big upside in the top part of the order that I like. But you can also go the other side because we've got an opener and supposedly some young guys that they just called up to pitch the bulk of the innings in Colorado that don't look that great to me. So I think we talk a lot in the chat about game stacks. but this is a good game to do game stack. Whether game stacks are a thing or not, this is one.
Okay. Any other teams you want to mention? Those seem like the more obvious ones. Is there something a little off the board?
The Dodgers are another obvious one. So, I mean, it's like we have enough obvious ones that they're not all going to be chalk. I mean, maybe the Braves will be. I think Coors is going to get the highest because they're cheaper. But from there, we can go down to Boston against Josiah Gray and the Nats. They have a lot. There's a lot of good matchups there. They got Verdugo leading off, which is nice for him. He gets the platoon. They go Devers is probably my favorite bat to home run tonight. And then if you want to get sneaky, I think the Cubs are like, I don't even think that they're that sneaky. It's just on this slate they're kind of sneaky. So they're the sneaky option for me.
Okay. Cards, like, talk me out of just playing the Braves. Like, why wouldn't I just play the Braves? What's wrong with doing that?
Because baseball. I mean, that's really the only thing at this point. Yes, the matchup is fantastic, and I mean, they even seem immune to the that's baseball this year with the way that they're hitting. So I can't really give you a case against it. But when you factor in the weather and the ump and the matchups, I do give Arizona the edge for my number one overall spot tonight. Otherwise, the teams as a whole, I think Kirkwood covered it pretty good, and we can probably dig in given the time limit tonight. So.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's go around the horn here, and we'll go position by position. We do like starting off with some catcher talk, but first, NFL is here, boys. We are more than ready. Our entire team of experts, our suite of tools. Let RotoGrinders handle the legwork. You can do less, win more this NFL season. Get access to everything we have to offer at a special discounted rate, only available to those without a RotoGrinder subscription. You get a full season subscription for $50 off, limited time only price of $375. That's a full season for $375. That seems like a great deal. So make sure you are checking that out. With that, let's dive into a little catcher talk. Card, somebody told me that the big dumper is underpriced, so I'm interested.
Well, again, hurricane pricing on DraftKings, he's 4,600 there. I don't really think that's a discount, but 3,200 on FanDuel, I don't know. He's appropriate for me. I don't think he's basically, he's either going to get a home run. He might go for 4. Fine tournament play. I prefer just going cheap here on DK with Moreno at 2,500. He'll be the most popular probably tonight. But that's a good source of salary savings. If you save at catcher and you save with at least one of your pitchers, you got all the salary in the world to work with at the elite, corner, infield, and outfield positions. I do think Diaz on the Colorado side hitting cleanup is fine as well if you want a more contrarian spend up. Francisco Alvarez is hitting cleanup tonight, so he's fine as well. I mean, there are actually some options here that Mitch Garver hitting 5th. I think it's a fairly deep spot, which goes to show you just how many options there are going to be at the other positions as well.
Okay, very good. Kirkwood, you just playing Atlanta catcher, saving money and stacking elsewhere? Or are you doing something
the world just making a lot of sense to me. I didn't realize that I have to play the big dumper on the day that I'm having with my my son over here. So.
The light bulb moments. Here we go.
It's stared you right. I can't let
lock him
this
in
up just in case the world's trying to talk to me here. Elias Diaz has always hit left-handed pitching much better for power. He's batting cleanup, so he's in play. Will Smith, all the usual names. Francisco Alvarez has got the cleanup spot tonight against Bailey Falter and Pitt, I think. And that's a great play. So there's a lot. We have a lot of good pop. The cheap play, like Card said, is Moreno. That should be the favorite of the bunch. But I kind of like Kisner. How did I pronounce? Is there a different?
You're very good.
Yeah, he's been raking lately, kind of, and he's kind of hidden down there, batting 7th, and he's only 2,900. So he looks like a good cheap option for me.
Very good. How about first base?
Yeah, first. This is really between the two of the top players on the entire slate. It's Christian Walker batting cleanup for Arizona against Colorado with the platoon. The guy just mashes. Great spot. Matt Olson on the other side against Severino. Now, if you you don't want to. Those guys, they're going to get the most ownership. The guys behind them a little bit should be Freddie Freeman, Goldie, Paul Goldschmidt against Oakland. So the great thing about Oakland is Watkins is not good. He was basically not in the majors, and they just pulled him up. He was a former Oriole, and their bullpen is so bad behind it, so you get so many chances of good spots. So for Goldie, Pete Alonso, if you want a little bit off the board, and Mi Casas, Su Casa, Tristan Casas is there. Alec Burleson is batting cleanup for 2,900 on the Cardinals. So, I mean, every guy that I've named has home run upside, and then we've still left out like Cody Bellinger. Like there's just first base is stacked tonight.
Yeah. All right, Cards, where are you going at first?
Yeah, that's why I think if you're going to play like somebody like Burleson, he's outfield eligible on both sides. Probably play him there tonight. You're going to want to free up your first base spot for a guy that you really want to play there. So I don't really have any other takes on the guys. I think Olsen and Walker are clearly the top two. I was going to mention Casas and Kirkwood did that, so agree on that call. And maybe Mike Ford is a cheap play as well. But again, I just think at this position tonight, it's going to be one of those spots where I've talked about spending at the other, saving at the other places, where I just don't want to play a 2K guy at first base. I think you've got so many of these guys with upside on the high end that, even if you want to be different in GPPs, you could get somebody like Goldschmidt or Alonso that aren't going to have the ownership tonight. But otherwise, it's Olsen and Walker at the top. Okay,
let's go to second base.
All right. Second base is a little more interesting because I like Arizona the most, but Ketel Marte, he's really been priced up. He's up to 4K on FanDuel. He's 5,800 on DraftKings. Certainly fine with it in the Arizona stacks, but I don't think he is an absolute must-play individually. Kirkwood's obviously a little bit more plugged in, so I'll let him talk about Trevor Story, who at least has finally, at least last night and last game, looked like he was starting to find his swing again. Brendan Rodgers, probably my favorite cheaper option at the position. He's back hitting fifth for Colorado against that Arizona bullpen game. He's pretty cheap on both sides. You got Buddy Kennedy as second base eligible on DraftKings. You could play him as a cheap play out of that Arizona group as well.
Very good. Kirkwood, your thoughts at second?
Yeah, I got a donut from Marte last night, so I have to run it back tonight. Hoping to get a little bit out of him. So the tilt will probably ensue later, but Brendan Rodgers is cheap on the other side for Colorado, batting fifth at 3,300. I like him a lot. He's really cheap on Yahoo, which I'm playing, and I like him there. He's in my lineup. Mookie Betts, obviously, wherever you can play him, you can always play him. And I'm trying to I like Justin Turner in this spot out in Washington. I like Nico Horner a little because I like the Cubs. I want to get a cheap play here for you. Do we have a consensus cheap play, Cards?
I mean, it's Rodgers for me, but I don't know if that qualifies as cheap enough.
Yeah, I was trying to look a little lower. I think that's probably, he's probably the value play.
Okay. How about third base?
This is a lot of pop here. Devers for Boston. Love him tonight. Also love Austin Riley. It's tough to pick. I also like Max Muncy a ton. Ryan McMahon on the other side will get, he will get some bats with the platoon when they go bullpen, I'm sure. And then we didn't really do justice enough for Seattle's spot because Lyles is someone we should definitely be attacking, and Eugenio Suarez certainly could go deep in the spot. So I like that.
Okay. Cards, your thoughts at third?
Yeah, I like Suarez as well. I think he's my favorite home run call of the night when you factor in odds. So Suarez at third is great. Devers, if you've got the top money to spend. I think McMahon, even if you're not stacking Colorado, good shot to get him maybe at lower ownership than some of the other, or what you would normally get in Coors for a guy hitting third, just because people will see lefty, and he tends to strike out a lot. Could always go Royce Lewis as well as a cheap-ish play. He's 2,600 on FanDuel, 3,100 on DraftKings. He's hitting third tonight for Minnesota, so he would kind of be my other favorite cheapie if you're looking for a punt. Did I lose the feed for a second, or you want me to move to short?
I know. I think we're just all silent. I think so we're at short, right?
Yeah, Ross muted himself. Oh, okay. Ross got something going on.
God damn it! I muted because the kids were screaming and I forgot to unmute. Shortstop
Wow.
cards.
Never would have expected that from Roth.
Some things just never change. I haven't been here in months, and Roth is muting himself.
I haven't done that in like 2 months. Damn it!
I'm like, did Ross tell me to
right,
move to short and I just didn't catch it? Or, you know, I know
did,
how it
but-
usually rolls, but
Yeah, my fault. All right. Anyway, shortstop.
yeah, shortstop is probably the position I'm torn on the most tonight. Just because I can't find a guy that I absolutely love. I like Tovar, I like Story, but I don't know if I want to pay the premiums for them. I'm not playing Nicky Lopez. You know, Tim Anderson has done absolutely nothing this year. I know he's cheap, but I just don't have a strong take at the position where you can always just kind of default to like, okay, I'll play Bobby Witt or I'll play Corey Seager. And if you've got the salary to do that, you know, that's certainly fine. Correa hitting cleanup is fine. Like, I really don't have a strong take here. Probably the position I'll fill in last in most of my builds, depending on how much salary I have left.
Okay, Kirkwood, your thoughts at short?
Yeah, so I think Tovar is kind of the right play. He went yard yesterday, batting second for Colorado. 4,700 is kind of reasonable. If you want to go up, like Card says, or if you're able to go up, Bobby Witt is the guy, even though he's against my pitcher. Lindor, Correa is kind of cheap. They're in a good spot in Minnesota, and he's 4,300. He's batting cleanup today. Their lineup looks pretty good today in general, from a power standpoint. So I like him. I think Dansby Swanson is going to be completely low owned tonight and could definitely go for a bomb. The cheapest play, I'm not playing to Anderson. I don't like any of the cheap play, except I probably will play Nicky Lopez just because he's a Brave and he's batting. He's part of my reach around stack.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Bring me to the outfield. I know you're just playing a ton of Braves, but what else can you do?
No, I so outfield is all about Arizona tonight, at least for cash. Tommy Pham is only 4,200 batting third. Corbin Carroll is a little high priced. I'm seeing a lot of ownership, but I have a feeling he'll come down a little bit. I have a feeling he'll get squeezed out at 6K. But Acuna, obviously, 6,800 is crazy to play, but I'm paying for it. Michael Harris is a really solid play tonight, batting second for Atlanta. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Speed and power at 4,100. Then there's guys just go home run hunting. So I think a guy like Max Kepler at 3,300 could hit a bomb. Tyler O'Neill could hit a bomb at 3,800. No one's going to play Judge, or not many will play Judge. I think that's probably a mistake because I don't have much confidence in Elder or that their bullpen at the moment in general for the Braves. So he's the one Yankee on a team full of gutless players. He's not gutless, Aaron Judge. So,
okay. Any other names you want to throw out there?
Any other Cubs I'm cool with too. Like Ian Happ is kind of cheap at 4K. And then I'll reiterate Burleson, like we said, McCard said they'd probably play him in the outfield 2,900 batting fourth.
Okay, very good. Cards, what are you doing in the outfield?
Yeah, I like those names. I'll just try to add on some additional ones that Kirkwood didn't mention. So Tommy Pham came up earlier. I think he's one of my favorites tonight. Good splits against lefties, in Coors against a low strikeout lefty. Really like Nootbaar leading off for the Cardinals tonight. His batted ball data has been really, really good over the past 6 weeks or so. Tauchman leading off for the Cubs, I think, is fine. Carroll, even lefty in Coors, I have no problem with that if you're looking for a higher end play. And Matt Wallner as another value. I think he's probably my favorite GPP value on DraftKings. Not as much of a priority on FanDuel. He's actually more expensive on FanDuel than he is on DK, but Matt Wallner, Tyler O'Neill as maybe a better play on FanDuel than on DK, where he's 2,500. So Wallner on DK, O'Neill on FanDuel as my punts tonight.
Okay, very good. The folks are going to want some home run picks, and you kind of have been giving them the whole show, but we need official home run picks, perhaps a Juggalo bomb, Kirkwood?
Yeah, I missed this one the last time I do it. I recommended him, and he didn't do it, but I got to run it back with Rafael Devers.
Okay, there it is. There's the Juggalo bomb graphic, and then the H&R Block Blast from STL Cards.
Do we have a graphic for that?
No, we don't. It was
a
a
lot
whole
of cash
thing.
symbols everywhere.
It was the whole thing last time. We really got into it. Yeah, Suarez I mentioned earlier, and then I will throw Newt Bar out there as a Cardinal homer call tonight.
Very good. To be clear, he would like everyone to know he does not work at H&R Block. He's very offended by even the suggestion.
I was playing it up a little bit. I really wasn't upset, just so you know.
I did your comment. Somebody was being an idiot and saying weathermen are always wrong or whatever. And your comment on my post about that was pretty damn funny for what it's worth, Cards. I got a good
I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, you should be. Hey, we've got 6 minutes until lock. Some folks are asking for weather updates in the two games where there is potential weather. So let me start in New York. I don't see any way anything impacts them for at least an hour and a half. And even beyond that, I think things hold off until after the game. So whatever you are going to do in New York, just do it. It's just things are working out really well there. In Washington, that's the game where we're going to see a few spotty pop-ups. It's likely they will not go over the ballpark. They are not currently over the ballpark. There's no reason to fade it. You just have to know there's like a 5% outcome that a stationary storm goes up over. There's flood warnings, watches rather, in effect. There's a non-zero chance a storm goes up and it rains for 2 or 3 hours, and that could be a problem. I would still play it. The odds of that happening are very low, but you need to know that it's not completely out of the question for that to happen. That leaves us with 5 minutes until we got to bounce on out of here. So let's take some QQs. I'm starting in the RotoGrinders Discord. That's where all the cool kids are hanging out these days. And we'll start with this one. STL Cards, your favorite stack in FanDuel single entry?
I'm going to go Arizona is my favorite overall, but they'll also carry a little bit more ownership. Now, if you subscribe to the theory that you don't have to worry about ownership tonight because there's so much good offense, Arizona, but I do like Colorado, pretty much the same on the other side of that game if you want the lower owned side.
Okay, very good. Any interest? This is kind of an add-on question. Cards, any interest in Jordan Lyles tonight?
Definitely not.
Okay, there you have it. What else do we have here? Oh, that was an add-on to a different question. I'm dumb. Dan Jan says, Kirkwood, Yankee stack and DK single entry. You like Judge, but you call the rest of them gutless.
Gutless, yeah.
Gutless.
I don't hate it, but I don't really love it either. There's other
FanDuel Cash, Kirkwood.
Yeah, plenty more. FanDuel.
Fam or Harris? M. Harris.
I think Fam is the correct play, but I personally like Harris more. So do with that what you will.
Okay, this is kind of a fun pivot off that last question, Cards, which is your favorite FanDuel single entry stack. This is your favorite FanDuel GPP large field stack. Is it different?
Probably not, just because I am not super concerned about ownership on this slate. Like, unless if your strategy in large field GPPs is that you just want to go crazy, wacky, way off the board, then maybe my answer would be different. But I can't even think of a team. I'm not really playing anybody beyond, say, my top 6 tonight. Like, maybe it's the Mets, but I'm not playing them just because I'm not going below the Atlanta, Texas, Coors, and Cardinals tonight.
Gotcha. All right. Ralph Stars says, Kirkwood, my pitchers combine cost 10.3K. Have I already lost?
No, you're chilling with me right now. We're in a good spot. But actually, He's a little lower than me, so he probably has Hudson and Hancock.
All right, but we don't think it's crazy for what it's worth.
No.
Get some of those Atlanta bats in there. FanDuel cash question cards. I'm coming to you back to back here. First off, Suarez, Burleson, or Kennedy O'Neill?
First one.
And then cards, your favorite DK cash pitchers.
It depends on the salary you have. Like you can go double cheap, which I'd probably go say Pavetta Peterson. Some people go Pavetta Hudson. I'm not as high on Hudson. If you have the salary to spend, it's probably Pavetta Wheeler. So, Pavetta's probably in there regardless. And then Wheeler if you're spending on one of them, and Peterson if you're not.
Excellent. Okay, DK GPP Kirkwood, your boy Devers and Volpe or Riley Lopez?
Riley Lopez, just a correlation.
Okay. JB says, what was Kirk's favorite game stack in a DK GPP? Was it the Colorado game? Both sides of it?
Yeah, it's both sides, but like heavier on the Colorado side. They just never get played as much.
Okay. Rocky says, how did you and Cards get Liv Shriver on the show? And I don't know who that is. Is he an actor who looks like Kirkwood? We're gonna need to Google this name.
Yep, that one's over my head as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right, that's fine. We're gonna Google.
Probably
it.
an insult. So
he's probably
He's
a
Ray
very
Donovan.
handsome man.
oh,
He's Ray
yeah.
Donovan. No, I could see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's good. I can see
kick a lot of ass over here.
Who Ray Donovan is your favorite FanDuel large tournament stack?
Seattle. No, we dawned on me that I'm currently, while we're doing this, I'm currently making Seattle stacks right now, and it seems like there's going to be a lot of overlay on DraftKings.
Okay,
looks like things aren't really filling up.
Really,
just a heads up. Yeah.
Okay. Aside says, hey Cards, your thoughts on Littell in FanDuel Cash to get all the Brave studs and Coors?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's safe enough that you can certainly play him. I'm looking at his, so he's 5,700 on FanDuel, but like that's only 1,000 less than Peterson. It's only 700 less than Hudson, and I just worry about the 80 pitches and the 3.5K prop. Like I'm not doing it, but it's probably not going to kill you.
Okay. Kirkwood, I was going to say, you look like the dude who plays Sabretooth from X-Men in the X-Men series. And it turns out that is Liv Shriver. So you really do look like that dude.
Sure. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Successful actor.
Yeah, it's not bad. Hey, guess what? We're coming up on not lock, but our lock here. Usually we take you up to lock and through lock. Some behind the scenes things we got to bounce just a little bit early today. So just wanted to let you know that for Kirkwood and for Cards and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we do appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.